Hey everybody, welcome to Reading the Bible to Cats. I'm still charging my microphone, so I'm just going to talk into the phone. And and I'm recording my videos in advance, so so all in a row. But we're working through this Cold Noses at the Pearly Gates by Gary Kurz, the devotionals on pet loss, and we're on day 10, and I'm holding the camera too, so okay. Hope it's like walking and chewing gum at the same time. It's like I have to coordinate everything. Okay, day 10, the promise to give courage. Psalm 56:3. What time I am afraid, I will trust in thee. This psalm addresses the mercy of God. The psalmist learned from experience that when he was at his lowest, when his fears raged within, this was the time to trust most in God. The indication is clear. God will give peace and courage to those who trust in him. In times of distress, such as the loss of a precious pet, God will mercifully instill courage within our hearts to allow us to carry on. This is not just a pipe dream. God says he will do it. And remember, a promise made by God is a promise kept. Yesterday, we learned that God will give the trusting heart new desires. When we are deep in grief, we can be fearful of what the future holds, and our desire is to sometimes give up. God, in his mercy, replaces that desire with a desire to trust even more in him. And the result of more trust is a persevering courage. Experiencing the loss of a pet gives place to many fears. We can fear to face the future because we feel each day will be filled with grief. We can be afraid to go to work because we don't want others to see us when we are most vulnerable. We can reject the idea of ever having another pet because we're afraid of facing this pain again. God does not identify any particular type of fear in our passage, so I am inclined to believe that it addresses all fear. If we want to overcome our fears, the remedy is simply that we need to trust in the Lord. Trust that the days ahead will be better. Trust that our coworkers will give us such support that we will not feel vulnerable. Trust that if we allow our hearts to love another pet, that the many years of unconditional love and devotion will far outweigh any fear of the future. Okay, everybody, that was really good for me. I'm thinking, it's like the pain of loving a little creature, a little adorable thing. It's painful. I know you all know that. And and I mean, Guster and Henry came to me, via my best friend because she needed me to long-term cat sit while she took care of things in her life. Anyway, they came to me on the heels of grieving the death of my kitties, Joey and Chloe. And I really didn't, I loved Henry and Guster, but I was so, grieving so much. And now Henry. But I remember thinking, at the time, it's like, I don't know if I can go through this again. I don't know if it'll be a long time before I get, cats again. And then, Henry and Guster came, plopped down into my lap. And then, Guster's mom is coming, and, one day, Guster will go back to his mommy, which, he loves his mom. And he's just so full of love. He loves everyone. But, when that day comes, it's like, I think, oh, I have to get another cat. It's so hard, It's like loving and losing. It's not easy. But I think I got a text. Uh-oh. Maybe I should look at it. Hold on a sec. Sorry, everybody. Apologies. I just have a lot going on right now. Okay, it's okay. I don't have to worry about that. Anyway, what I wanted to say was something else I wanted to say. Where was it? Oh, fear and courage. Yeah, I really related to that. I remember before my mom died, a week before she died, and I know I've shared this before, but she said, I don't think I have long in this world. And I knew enough to, not dismiss it. And so I said, well, how long do you think you have? And she said, maybe 2 or 3 months. And I knew that I was supposed to give her permission to go. And so I said, well, Mom, it's okay if you want to go to heaven. And she said, I want to go to heaven. And if you knew my mom, you'd know that would never come out of her mouth, because she never talked about it. I mean, she was a believer, but she, I always talked about heaven. I've always been obsessed with heaven. And, I would, just go on and on about, what I thought about heaven, in conversation with my mom. And she was like, Sarah, I mean, frankly, it sounds, she said, frankly, it sounds a little like, fantasy land. I don't know, so she had, because I would talk about the angels and the seraphim, and there are angels with 6 wings and eyes all over, and all these things. And she was like, I don't know. She's like, I don't know if I want to go to heaven and see that. I'd rather, have a beautiful condo and the beach. Not creatures with 6 wings and eyes all over. She was. I was obsessed at the time. This was years ago, with the angelic descriptions in the Bible that were so otherworldly, and I think it kind of scared my mom a little bit. Anyway, all that to say, she wasn't someone to talk about going to heaven, even though she believed in it. She preferred, less unusual things to populate the halls of heaven, I guess. But anyway, she's in heaven now. But anyway, back to the conversation. So I said, Mom, it's okay if you want to go to heaven. And she said, I want to go to heaven. She said, God has always put so many people in my life, and, I want to go. And then she said, and you are going to need to have courage with this loss. And and she went a week later. And I always thought about that, courage. And he talks about it here, having courage and facing our fears, which I'm very fearful. Even though I guess it's not, it's kind of weird, because, I'm not outwardly fearful. I mean, you probably wouldn't know it were you to meet me in person. Everybody says, oh, you have such a calming presence. And I guess my voice is like a, calming, but But yeah, so there's fear, and what he talks about is like in this devotional, the fear of losing, and fear of the future because you don't want to face more loss, and then it kind of restricts you from really living. And he says, the author Gary says that the antidote is really just trusting God. But yet there are all these scary things that happen in life. But yet, you know, it's anyway. In some, I like this devotional today. Um, yeah. Okay. Well, let me say a prayer. I don't know why I'm using a funny voice, but I am. I'll pray. Lord, thank you for this devotional and the word today. I ask for courage. I mean, I don't really like that prayer because it's like you need courage when you go through tough times. I'd prefer like smooth, easy times and lots of fun. But I pray, Lord, for your joy. That's a continual prayer. For your joy is our strength. And I pray for everybody who's watching or listening, my friends out there, that you give them joy. Your spirit is just good. Like you are good. Everything good is from you. You are life. How could we not want you? How could we not want who you are? And I do, Lord, I do need more of you, more of your spirit. I mean, I know I have your spirit, but I mean just more, I don't know, feasting at the table. Lord, bless everyone who's watching or listening. I pray for this day. Help me to feel like I've done something. And just pray for your shalom, your peace. And I pray for always the peace of Jerusalem, the protection of Israel, your people, that you comfort your people, all your people. I pray this in Messiah's name, Yeshua, Jesus. Amen. Okay, everybody. I'll talk to you soon.